In every city, there's a building that stands just a little too tall, with windows that reflect more than just light, and hallways that hold on to echoes a bit too long. People pass them every day, never wondering what happens when the last light goes out, and the last elevator dings to a stop. This is the story of Brian, a man who believed in reason, in deadlines, in logic. But on one quiet night, high above the sleeping streets, he would learn that some places remember the past, and some doors were never meant to be opened. Brian was never the type to believe in ghost stories. He believed in logic, deadlines, and the very real possibility of losing his job if he didn't deliver the marketing report by morning. That's why, when the clock struck midnight and the office lights flickered, he barely flinched. He was alone on the 27th floor of an old but towering office building downtown. Alone, except for the scratching noise coming from the room down the hall. It had started softly, like a whisper behind the drywall, a faint scratch that could easily be explained away by rats or an old pipe settling. But as the seconds ticked on, it grew louder, more deliberate. Brian paused his typing, the glow from his monitor casting long shadows on his cubicle walls. His chair creaked as he stood and stretched. The coffee in his mug had gone cold. With a sigh, he decided to make his way to the pantry for a fresh cup. The hall outside his office was long, lined with glass meeting rooms and closed doors. Most of the floor was dark, save for the emergency exit signs and motion-triggered lights that flickered on as he walked. The scratching grew more audible now, definitely coming from room 2706. He glanced toward it. The room was one of the older meeting rooms, unused for years. It had a sign posted long ago saying, "Under renovation," though no renovation ever took place. The blinds behind the glass were permanently drawn, as if shielding something, or someone inside. Brian remembered what Marcus told him just last week.
Don't stay past 10, seriously. I've worked here longer than you, and you don't want to know what's been seen on that floor.
Urban legends?
Brian had scoffed, waving off the warning with a laugh.
We're in the middle of the city, not a haunted village.
Marcus had looked serious, pale even.
You don't know what happened to Alan, do you?
Alan, the night janitor?
Exactly. No one talks about him, because one night he stayed late to clean the upper floors. Never clocked out, never went home. Cameras glitched, no trace. Room 2706 was the last place he was seen walking into.
Brian had rolled his eyes then, but now, with the dim hall stretching endlessly behind him, and the scratching continuing, rhythmic, impatient, he hesitated. He told himself it was nothing. He got his coffee, ignoring the goosebumps on his arms, and returned to his desk. The scratching stopped as he walked away. The quiet made it worse. Back at his cubicle, he tried to focus. The report was nearly done. Just a few more graphs, a summary slide, and he could leave. But as the minutes passed, a new sound crept into the silence. It was subtle, like a fingernail tapping against glass. Brian froze. The meeting room across from his cubicle had a wide glass wall. Nothing but an empty table and chairs inside. He turned. Nobody. He shook his head, took a sip of coffee, and resumed working. The fluorescent lights above him buzzed softly. His eyes stung from staring at the screen for so long. Just finish it, he told himself. Just finish and leave. Then the lights in the hallway flicked off. And then the scratching returned. Louder, closer. He looked up. Room 2706 was just around the corner. His monitor flickered. The screen went black for a second, then came back on. His file still open, but corrupted. The graphs were gone. The text distorted into random characters. A single line stood out among the gibberish. He's watching. Brian stood up so quickly his chair fell over. Panic surged in his chest. He grabbed his phone. No signal. The clock on his monitor blinked. He hadn't even noticed the time. The scratching had stopped again. Silence. Too silent. That's when he heard the sound behind him. Slow, deliberate footsteps. He turned. No one. He stepped into the hallway. The air felt colder, heavier, like breathing underwater. Room 2706 was slightly open. That door had been locked for years. He didn't mean to walk toward it. His legs moved on their own, drawn forward like a puppet on strings. The door creaked as he pushed it open. Inside, the room was dark. Only the moonlight from the cracked blinds lit the space. There was a smell, old, damp, like something forgotten in the ground. And then he saw it. In the far corner of the room, where shadows clung like cobwebs, something moved. Not a person, not an animal. It was tall, too tall, its limbs unnaturally long. Its fingers, if they could be called that, scratched the wall slowly, leaving long, dark gouges. It turned its head, or what might have been its head, toward Brian. Two glowing pinpricks where eyes should be. Brian couldn't scream, couldn't run. His body was locked in place. It spoke, not with a voice, but with a feeling, a presence inside his head.
You stay. Now you go.
The door slammed shut. The next morning, the office buzzed with the usual activity. People laughed at the coffee machine. Phones rang. Emails were sent. Brian's desk sat empty, his chair still tipped over.
Strange.
Someone muttered.
Brian's never late.
Marcus passed by, glancing at the empty cubicle. He paused, staring at the dark hallway leading to room 2706. He shivered, but said nothing. By noon, no one remembered Brian had ever been there. And deep within room 2706, behind the drawn blinds and scratched walls, a new scratching began. They say the city never sleeps, but some floors in its tallest towers remain silent for a reason. Brian wasn't the first to vanish behind that door, and he won't be the last. In the glow of monitors and under flickering lights, something waits. For those who stay too late, who ignore the warnings, and who dare to walk toward the sound in the dark. Room 2706 is still there. Still locked. Still waiting. Next time you're working late, listen carefully. And ask yourself, are you really alone? Because some stories don't end. They simply wait for the next chapter.